Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday morning podcast. I'm Michelle with Olive and 2U Studios. I'm typically here every Saturday morning, either live or recorded, and I'm always so happy to be here and see everybody. We've got so much to talk about today, new things in the shop, new things going on, all sorts of fun. But right now, I want to say welcome to the people who are here with me live this morning, the Yarny U's from our Facebook group, Yarny U's. And if you happen to be watching after the fact, after the live, welcome to you as well. I hope you find something here that's useful for you. If you haven't already done so, I invite you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and that helps us all out. So here are the Yarny U's. Tara's here, Valera's here, Deborah's here, Tracy, Belinda, Lonnie, Diane, all sorts of people. Anne is here, Katrin's here. Good morning, good morning. It's always so good to see you all. Thanks for being here with me. So happy. It's a little chilly here in Florida this morning, so I'm wearing a little bit of a sweater. Some of my hand knits are kind of put away, being washed and stuff, so I'm not wearing a hand knit today, but I wanted to. I just couldn't. So hopefully soon I'll have those out again. Cindy's here. Kim is here. Good morning. Good morning. It's always so good to see you all. We got the romper room effect going on here again today. So Doris is here. I love it. Everybody's popping on this morning. I sound like I've said bye to the sniffles. Yeah, well, let's hope so. I am so much better than I was. And whoo, that was like 2.5 to 3 weeks of being sick. And that was just after coming off COVID earlier in the year. So it was really kind of a crazy time. My energy is almost 100% back, not quite 100% just yet, but I'm definitely getting there. So thank you so much for thinking about me and for, again, giving me the grace to kind of take care of myself and get well a little bit. I've tried to hit the ground running again, but there's always so much to do to get caught up. Jamie's here. Good morning. Tish is here. Good morning. Tish says it is, let's see, she's in upstate, I think New York, where it's raining, sleeting, grappling all at the same time. I don't know what grappling is. I'll have to look that up. Great knitting weather. I agree. And Susan is here. Susan says she's finally here. We're glad that you made it, Susan. Absolutely. So this week is all about socks because we've put together some fantastic sock sets for you in the shop. And I know we've got so many Yarny U's that are really into sock knitting. I have plans this month. Gosh, do you believe we're already in March? It's a little shocking. Like I read an email this morning from a content creator that I follow, Clara Parks, and she posted this really cool poem about how like February was going along fine and then like March snuck in and took over. And that's what I feel like has happened. It's like we're already in the third month of the year. Anyway, we've got so many Yarny U's that are avid sock knitters. And later this month, I have plans to do a little crank in with some friends of mine, just the three of us, so I can get a little more adept at my circular sock machine. So hopefully I'm hoping to carve out some time and do that so I can do many more socks on my circular sock machine. Plus, there's so many other things that you can do on your circular sock machine. While we're on the topic of not only socks, but circular sock machines, if you are part of the Bay Area Knitting Guild over in the Tampa area here in Florida, I will be the guest on March 27th, their regular meeting over there, and I'll have my circular sock machine with me. We're going to do a little demo and talk about circular sock machines. So I'm really looking forward to that. If you're not a member of the Bay Area Knitting Guild, I encourage you to do that. There's actually a free download on our website that gives you a whole bunch of information about the Bay Area Knitting Guild. Nancy Victorino, who is a very active Yarny U in the group, is the president of the Bay Area Knitting Guild. They just concluded their yarn crawl not too long ago. So there's always a lot of fun things to do with them. And I'll be the special guest on, well, I don't know how special I am, but I'll be the guest on March 27th. Me and Matilda, the circular sock machine. So if you're a member, you want to come and see me. And then if you're not a member, find out. I'm not sure what the rules are. I suspect you can go once or twice, maybe. I'm speaking out of turn here. I'm sure someone will correct me. I know a lot of guilds will let you come once or twice as a guest and then sign up. So we'll have to find out. So, oh, good. Tish is going to educate me. I like it. Grapple is a type of frozen snow, not to be confused with sleet. Okay. New term for her too. We're always learning things, aren't we? Absolutely. I am committed to being a lifelong learner, so it's always good to learn. Lynn is here, and Tish corrected the spelling, grapple. Okay, I like it. Learn something new every day. So anyway, we're going to talk about a little bit about socks today, and then I've got some other things to show you that are kind of all about socks in the shop right now. But I want to, and then we've got, again, a really good WIP segment this week to show off some of the WIPs that everybody's working on with the Great Yarny WIP-OFF, or just in general. So we're going to get to that in just a moment. But I wanted to show you last week, I gave you a photo sneak peek of the Snowpocalypse yarn that Sherry and Terry dyed up for you. But I have some here to show you in person. All of the Snowpocalypse yarn did ship, and it was beautiful. Let me just tell you, I say this, but I can't say enough. They are really knocking it out of the park when it comes to dyeing. We collaborate on colorways and things going on, and we're on the same page. They have a great creative vision, and I put my 2 cents in worth, whatever that is. And somehow they just dye up this gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. I was so tickled with Snowpocalypse. There it is. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. You may remember the palette that we put up for this mystery yarn, and they completely and utterly nailed it. I'm actually going to unfurl it for you. I ordered mine on Play-Doh, which is a DK, a great DK base. What'd I do there? I'll show you here. There we go. I ordered it on Play-Doh. I'm going to open this up so you can see it. I've got that. There's always one string that kind of hangs a little lower. It's just the way it comes to us from the mill. I think it has to do with the put up process. So you'll have to excuse that one string that hangs down. But there it is. I should have caked mine. Maybe I'll cake it so you can see it next week. But I think they totally nailed the palette that we put out there and made it super, super beautiful. You can see those shades of the light blues and the grays that kind of remind you of winter. And then you've got some red for like winter berries and that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm completely smitten with it. And I'm so glad that I ordered some for myself. I don't always do that. But this one, I just knew it was going to be awesome. And I'm glad that I did that. I will wind this better later. Y'all have seen me try to wind this stuff by hand. I'm never good at it. But we have a machine, thankfully, that makes it much easier for us to wind. So I'm just going to put this away like this now. And I'll go back to it later and wind it or cake it up for myself. So I've got it. See, that is not a very good hand skeined hank of yarn, but that's all right. I've got a machine that'll do it better later. I agree, Kim. Kim just said it's so hard to do all the things we want to do. There's never enough hours in the day. Growing up, I remember my mother saying that all the time. And I was like, what do you mean? There's plenty of time in the day. Like, we all get the same amount. And the older I get, the more I find out that there's never enough time in the day. That is absolutely and completely true. Okay, so we're going to talk about socks today. I've got some things to show you, but I also want to mention to you that if you are traveling with us to Scotland, and many of you are, that I sent out an email yesterday to our Scotland travelers about a Zoom meeting that we're going to do this Thursday. I believe it's at 6:30 p.m. You've got all the information, including the Zoom link there, and it's just about time to book your airplane travel tickets. But before you do, I want us to have that meeting so I can share with you some details about booking. There's some time frames that you need to know about and some details before you book your tickets. And I'm going to share that with you, and also about the new ETA, electronic travel authorization requirement from the UK. It's really simple. It's very inexpensive. I want to say it's I think it's 13 pounds or $10 or something like that. It's good for, I believe, 5 years maybe. Really easy to do, and most people get their approvals back in 30 minutes. It's not a big thing, but I want to share those details with you, and I did include the link for that in the email for our Scotland travelers. But the Zoom will be this Thursday at, I believe, 6:30 p.m. All the information is in the email, including the Zoom link. We're going to get together and chat about it a little bit, learn some details so that you can set off and go ahead and get your airline tickets booked for the trip. That's happening. The trip is happening towards the end of September, so we've still got several months, but it's coming along. It's a good time to go ahead and start thinking about your airline tickets. So we'll do that this Thursday. If you are traveling with us to Scotland and you didn't receive that email, let me know. I'll be sure and forward to you my copy. And we do still have a couple seats left on the Scotland trip. I don't like to fill it up too much. So we have a little bit more room. We've got a good crew, a full crew, but we've got a little bit more room. So if you're interested, there's still time to get in on the trip. So do let me know. It's easy to do. You can just pay your $250 deposit right online and then get caught up with your payments. And then if you are traveling with us to Scotland, I know some of you have already paid in full, and others of you are making the regular payments. The link is live on our website now to make your second payment, which is due, I want to say March 15th, but all the information is on there, and you have your payment checklist so you can keep track of all of that. So many fun things happening there. And with the Scotland trip, we've got great vendors this time, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, what I'd like to do now is get going on the WIPs, because we do have several WIPs. Before I do, though, I want to let you know in the show notes, if you've never before looked in the show notes, I encourage you to do that. You can even scroll down to them now, and you'll see the links for the patterns that we're going to talk about in the WIPs. Now, one caveat to that, sometimes when you post your WIPs in the Yarn to Use, you don't always include the pattern name, so then I don't have it. And sometimes even when you do include the pattern name, for some reason I can't find it. There were a couple this week that I searched even online as well as Ravelry, thinking maybe it wasn't on Ravelry, and I couldn't find the pattern link. So just be aware of that. But any pattern link that I'm able to locate, I include in the show notes down below. And then the other thing that I want to mention, if you've never kind of explored down below the video on the channel, is that there's also a place there with all of the products that I'm going to be talking about this morning. And you can actually click those and shop directly from YouTube now on the channel. So several of the products that I'm going to be talking about later are actually tagged down below, and you're able to shop right from there. So you don't even have to go like directly to the website to shop during the live or when you're watching the video. The products are tagged down below. So let's go ahead and roll with the WIPs, because we're kind of catching up because of me being out. And some of these are from, several weeks ago and that sort of thing. And I'll be honest with you, when I was sick, my brain wasn't working great. So if you see a couple repeats, don't hold it against me. It's always good to see the WIPs though. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. All right, this is so much fun to do. You guys are so inspiring. So Jamie, she did Smile Again mitts, and she said she still has the hat. And I do believe I have a picture of the hat here in just a moment as well. She's actually making the set of those. And I love the colors that she did. And look, I think that picture was even taken over snow. So those kinds of fingerless mitts are great because they leave your fingers free to use your phone if you need to or anything like that, because most phone screens work by body heat. It's the heat of the finger touch that makes it work. So fingerless mitts give you the ability to still operate a phone or electronic device. I mean, where would we all be without our electronic devices? I did take a picture of the hat, so I'm hoping it shows up here in the WIPs later. Carol Higgs Burdette, Fuzzy Goat Shawl by Laura Dobratz. That's one of those patterns that I could not find the link for, and I looked everywhere, but it is a beautiful shawl, and I love the colorways that she included in that. Looks like a really handy shawl to have. Tammy Smith, now this was a little while back that she actually posted this, so I suspect she's completed more socks by now, but this was her 5th pair done for 2025. Talking about the socks, so many people doing socks. They're great things. Belinda Kowalski, she's working on the Lincoln. It's a baby blanket, and she did a special order of Greige on Homer, and it looks so good. You might recall Greige is kind of that taupey gray color, and we should be having more of that in the shop soon. That was actually sort of semi-debuted at our Solely Socks event, kind of on the down low, and several people placed special orders for it at that time because it's such a great neutral colorway. All right, Sherry and Terry are dyers. Sherry actually worked on the hat, the Lonely Hearts Club hat, and she did it both ways. She used the kit that was Fields of Gold, which was Golden Hour and Vitamin C. And if you can see it on there, it's a little smaller than the big picture, but she actually knit that hat up both ways. One with the Vitamin C being the contrast, and the Golden Hour being the main color, and then the other way around for the other one just to see how that played, because of the kits that Becky offered, this was the most low contrast. But people loved it and it looks really good. So Sherry did her hat both ways. I loved how she said at the end, off to the next project and to dye more yarn. They're always busy in the dye studio. Linda Essler and I don't have the names of all of these patterns, but her February challenges were done. So, and she's already chosen her whips for March. She's part of the Great Yarny WIP-OFF. You can see her tracker there with her stickers. And she said it's a great incentive, the WIP-OFF is, to get them finished. And she's rocking and rolling on those. Look at that. And I love it. This was posted a few days ago, and she had already chosen her whips for March, which I think is a really smart way to do it. I think if we sort of plan what we're going to work on instead of just grabbing something out of a project bag, then we have a chance to really be mindful and purposeful about it. And that probably means that we're going to be more successful about it. What is that old saying? A failure to plan is a plan to fail. And Linda, it looks like, has really taken that to heart, and she is planning for success. So her whips look fantastic. Cheryl Guin, we saw a little while back that she was working on the Londoner shawl, and she finished it. She used Coal Miner's Daughter, which is a fingering yarn, and it has sparkle to it, a really beautiful silver sparkle that doesn't come through well on that photo. But when you see it when you see that colorway in person, I haven't seen the shawl in person because Cheryl lives up in Georgia, but I've seen the colorway in person, and the silver sparkle looks like diamonds against that black background. I'm going to have to work to get some more of that in the shop because it is a really stunning and dramatic colorway. I love it so much. Here we go. Here's Jamie's hat, the Smile Again hat that matches the fingerless mitts, and she made it for her daughter, the whole set. I love the contrast that she has with that, and that color pom-pom just goes so well with it. Great choices, Jamie. Lonnie Holt, A Taste of Brioche hat by Lisa K. Ross, Paper Daisy Creations. She used 2 skeins of a bulky weight yarn. Now, I'm curious if Lonnie had done brioche before. The name of this pattern, A Taste of Brioche, kind of suggests to me that it might be a good first kind of brioche foray or adventure. So, and it's 2-color brioche, obviously. So I suspect Lonnie's done brioche before, but this turned out really, really well. And I love the contrast between those colors. Next up, Linda Essler again. This is one of her whips. This is the Cumulus blouse by Petite Knit. You might remember that we did a knit along for this a little while back, and that colorway looks a lot like Little Wise to me. I didn't finish my Cumulus blouse, but that was the colorway that I selected. So I have a feeling that's what it is. And when Linda took a picture of this, it looks like her sleeves were separated. She was just finishing the bottom and getting ready to adventure onto the sleeves. Last but not least, we've got Tracy Ann, her bunny whip. I love it. She's getting ready for Easter. The Purple's Happy Hour. She couldn't remember the name of the spring speckle, and to be honest, I couldn't either. But I love that. And I think one of the other Yarny U's mentioned, hey, that looks like, you know, the peeps, right? Like the peeps for Easter. And it really does. So Tracy, if I'm not mistaken, does a thing where she sets herself a challenge to knit every single day of the year. And again, I think that's a great tactic and technique to kind of have in your brain to make sure that you're stitching a little bit every day. And it's more of that purposeful, mindful sort of thing to be sure that we're carving out the time that we need to do the things that we want. Just like somebody mentioned a little bit ago, Kim, I think, said, you know, it's just so hard to do all the things that we want. And I think, again, it goes back to that planning. I know what a lot of people do, and I've done this in the past, is kind of put your projects in a place where you do sit every day. So if you've got a special place on the couch or a special chair that you like to sit in, then putting your projects there so they're right in front of you and really handy, so you don't have to go, you know, gather up all of your materials or find them in your craft room. You've got them right handy where you sit to relax, and it's kind of a great reminder to go ahead and stitch. So, okay, here we go, Lonnie. She's going to answer. She's done some brioche with Stephen West, but A Taste of Brioche hat and mitts by Lisa Ross is great for newbie brioche knitters. There you go. I started doing brioche years ago when I was a newer knitter, and it was one of those things, again, that I really didn't know that I should be afraid of. And you shouldn't be afraid of it. But I remember I did it, and then a couple of years later, except I stopped because I made some mistakes, and brioche is notoriously difficult to tink back. I know some designers actually teach classes in how to tink back or solve mistakes in brioche. So I kind of put it down. But I had gotten like halfway through the project, and I was probably only 15 months into my knitting career when I picked it up. And then later it was like the color work that I had done later, I found out, oh, people like are really afraid of brioche. And it's really not hard. It's a lot of barking and burping, as I like to say, because those are kind of the abbreviations that are used. But it's not difficult. It's typically the tinking back of brioche that can make it more difficult. But it's all doable and it's all approachable. So Lonnie says it's a good hat to start with. So that might be the hat for you to start with. Belinda, bunnies are so cute. And then Tracy, this is cool. She said the Peeps bunny graph chart was found on Pinterest. Great. That would be why I couldn't find it. I didn't look at Pinterest. But yeah, and I know, so Belinda said that she's looking for Easter eggs to knit this year. So, it's interesting. If you remember back to when the emotional support chickens were so big, and I know so many people are still doing those, which is awesome. I think part of what came out of the emotional support chicken kind of rage was, for a lot of us, it reminded us that you have so many other opportunities to knit things. It doesn't just have to be a garment, but you can knit home deck objects or these cute little stuffable things and such. I've seen so many other little stuffable, smaller ones than the emotional support chickens that have come along, and bunnies are one of them that I've seen come along, especially as we go towards Easter. So I think it was good that it reminded us all that we can do that. And Ravelry has some special categories for like home decor and those sorts of things. And I know that for myself, I haven't often explored those. So I challenge you to look at those patterns and see if there's something that sort of grabs your attention. It might be a good palette cleanser from the usual kind of shawls or socks or sweaters that we do, to have something kind of smaller, something that's a totally different shape, help to kind of flex those muscles for those skills in your knitting repertoire and do something different. So it makes a neat little gift as well. And Susan just shared, for those who didn't do the original emotional support chicken, they now have a smaller version. Thank heavens. That's great. It's funny. Monica was doing inventory here in the shop the other day, and she came across some really neat colors that she's like, oh, these would make great emotional support chickens. They weren't worsted weight, which is what the original pattern calls for. And I said, you know what? They just be a smaller size. Do a DK or even a fingering. You could create a whole flock of chickens that's just a smaller size, or use scraps so that you're using up those scraps and making good use of them instead of them just sitting on the shelf in your stash. So that's great. Thanks for letting us know that, Susan. It sounds like that's an official pattern that they've come out with for that. That's actually smaller. So awesome. I love all those things. So I want to get to some of the cool things in the shop right now for sock knitting, again, because so many people are really into sock knitting. Now, I'm going to show you some of the self-striping. You can see it. Let's see, right here, right there. You can see some of it peeking out, which I shared with you this week. I just contacted the dyer who does our self-striping, and she's going to be shipping our new stuff in probably about a week and a half to us. With the new self-striping, we've got both fingering and DK coming along, which I'm very, very excited about. I think that's going to be wonderful. I know many of you are DK sock knitters, and she actually brought a brand new base into her shop. I don't know that she's selling it retail, but she got it for us so that we could have her DK beautiful striped self-striping yarn here at Olive and 2U Studios. So that'll be coming soon. But in the meantime, we've got a few of her original colorways that we had in the shop available. This one is Coral Reef, which is super fun with those. I love the contrast between kind of the coral and the aqua. This was one that sold out that we got some more of. Christmas Cheer. It was super popular here in the shop, but it's not necessarily just a Christmas colorway. So I like that a lot as well, but I love these colors. And then one of my other really big favorites is this, let's see here, it's called Artistic. And again, it's almost citrusy colors. There is a color called Citrus Burst that I think may have sold out in the shop, although we may have it. But this is Artistic, and it's got that beautiful combination of kind of pinks and oranges with a little bit of a gray color in it that really sets it off. Love that as well. And keep in mind, with the self-striping sock yarn, we've got a whole host of minis here in the shop that you can put with them to create your own sock set. So those are super fun. And then we can look forward to having more self-striping very, very soon. She is a Canadian dyer, Comfy Cozy Knits. Her name is Ashley McKeever, and she does a wonderful, wonderful. Valera says, DK self-striping, thank you. Yes, absolutely. We've got those DK sock knitters. Nancy, welcome. Glad to see you here this morning as well. And then these, we've only got a couple of these left. These were really popular, especially at our following retreat. Got some of these really neat sock knitting totes, knitting socks. Takes time and dedication. After all, you have to knit 2 only to lose 1 in the wash. But one of the things that I love about this bag is it's a nice big size. And check out this gusset. It's got a big old gusset here, or a flat bottom, I guess I should say, that makes it really nice and lets it sit up, and you get some additional space by this. I think there's only 3 of these left in the shop, but I think they're super fun. So if you're an avid sock knitter or a sock knitter wannabe, or have a friend who is, great, great bag. If you're not into self-striping yarn, or maybe you don't want to use any more of it at the moment, you want something a little different, then I really recommend the Freya Soulmates yarn. What makes this particular yarn super unique is that it's caked into 2 separate balls to give you 2 identical socks. Or if you use it for mittens or something like that, you also get 2 identical mittens. Now, what some people like to do, though, is recake it so you get the opposite way. So you start with maybe this teal color on the outside for one and work towards that kind of golden color. And on the other, you can recake it and then start with the opposite with the golden. So your socks come out opposite. These are identical. But I think this is the Dirty Hippie colorway that I love so much. Yes, Dirty Hippie colorway. I just love those colors together. Are those not fun? We've got a couple different colorways. We're getting low on this. It's about to sell out, I think. But this is another colorway. This is the Pixie with kind of the purple, if you're a purple fan, purple gray, and kind of some kind of light teal in there, like robin's egg blue that goes with it. And you get these beautiful socks out of that. So the Soulmate sock yarn is another really good option if you're wanting to do some socks and do something a little bit different with those. But the big news this week is that we've put together some beautiful sock sets out of the gorgeous yarns that we've been seeing lately in the shop. I could not resist. And so I want to show you some of these. I'm just going to show you a few of them. This is Baba Ganoush. This is actually in a DK weight. So you've got the colors in there, kind of that pink and that blue that's definitely in those speckles there. You've got this, which is Fat Tush, really, really beautiful. You've got the black and the tummy ache to go with the colors in Fat Tush. This is one of the really big advantages to us doing collections in the shop now, is that you have lots of opportunity for yarn that actually works really well together. And this is one of the benefits, is you can get these great sock sets with perfectly matching colorways. And then, of course, one of my ultimate favorites is the Akuppa colorway right here, because the tea, all the fun tea. Akuppa is there. So there's really beautiful neutrals with these colorways that also match perfectly to do some socks. This is great for like if you've got a guy in your life that wants socks, or a woman who just likes some neutrals and can go with everything. So there's a whole host of those. I know several of those have already been ordered. So some of what I showed you may have already sold out. I'm not sure, but I'm looking at a ton of those colorways over here on the table. They are ready to ship. Beautiful sock sets, and you get a little bit of a financial break on them. You get a little bit of a sale on it, because when we put them together, we decided, let's discount it just a little bit so that you're going to pay less for the sock set than you are if you buy all of those individual components on their own. So it's a little bit of a break, which is really nice in these times right now, I think. And then, of course, our Cancer colorways. So Mean Green Fighting Machine was our February Cancer colorway, which highlighted gallbladder and bile duct cancer. And several of you subscribed to that. So, which is really smart, because when you subscribe, you're guaranteed to get those colorways every single month as soon as they come out. So we've got just a couple of these available. And remember, with the Cancer colorway, you get the matching stitch marker that's made by Ann Michael of Twin Mommy Creations for us. And then you also get a little card that highlights the cancer, tells you a little bit about it, and has the QR code to take you over to our website so that you can get more information, including usually clickable links to tell you something. And then 25% of the profits of the sale of these yarns go to the foundation specifically for that particular type of cancer. So I'm just so excited that we're doing that program. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the March cancer colorway. Okay. March is going to be a little bit different, and going forward, there may be other months like March. So March, the American Cancer Society for March highlights multiple different cancers. I want to say one of them is multiple myeloma, one of them is kidney cancer, and I think the other one might be colorectal cancer. I could be wrong on that. So what we've done, because there's so many colorways, is Sherry and Terry have dyed up a monthly cancer colorway that incorporates colors from all of those ribbons. Okay. So it kind of puts the colors together. And it is, I said it on the live in the Yarn I Use the other day, it is a completely stunning colorway. It's full of drama. It's full of beautiful colors. And I was just bowled over when I saw it. It's one of my favorites so far. And then what they've done is they've created minis in each of the individual colors for each of the individual cancers. So you're going to see something a little bit different this month, because we wanted to be sure to bring awareness to all of the cancers that are highlighted by the American Cancer Association for March. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but the links to those colorways, when they hit the shop, you'll have the interchangeable links. So it will tell you in one listing where to click for the other listing if you're interested in the minis or the 100-gram hank. Now, you do want to remember that your stitch marker and your card only comes with the 100-gram hank, but it's great to have those minis in your stash. And it's a nice way, again, to remember those additional cancers. So it'll be a little bit different for March, and they've been madly dyeing those up. So we should have those in a couple weeks here in the shop. So super excited about that, and the good that is happening from you folks supporting that effort. And that's going to be a lot of fun. And then in the Yarn I Use, if you mentioned it, I'm going to be bold and talk about it on the Saturday morning podcast. I wasn't sure if I wanted to, but I'm not good at keeping secrets or keeping things under a bushel. So I'm working with somebody now, hoping it all comes through, and I think it will. We are working to develop a pattern for the 2025 Cancer Awareness Colorways. And the way that's going to work is that it will be a pattern that gives you an opportunity to use those colorways in a special blanket. Now, there's going to be lots of room for movement so that you can customize the blanket how you wish. But the idea is that you'll be able to create a custom blanket based on those cancer colorways. It's a meaningful project. And so many of us, I'm not sure I know anybody in my life, whether they're family or friend or professional colleague, who has not been touched in some way by cancer. So what we're hoping to incorporate in this pattern is a way that you can put a heart or a star or other special motifs to indicate in the blanket whether you perhaps had a family member or friend who's passed from that particular cancer, or someone who's a survivor from that particular cancer, or maybe even yourself, or other ways that your life may have been touched by that. And so when we roll that out, we'll be sure and advertise it and let you know, but it will be a way that you can make a meaningful blanket that, and you can use it in so many different ways. If you're somebody who prays, you can pray through it for your friends and family. You can give it to someone. Maybe somebody who's going through chemo or surgery or something, and it would be meaningful to them, or something along those lines. And then I'm planning to make a memorial wall on our website as well, to give you an opportunity to send in your stories, and then allow us to put a graphic on a special page on our website so that you can have like a little memorial wall for the entire year, bringing kind of awareness, but also giving a chance to tell your story, because so many of you have written me emails or texted and shared your stories with me, and it's really meaningful. And I've said it before, I don't think folks have enough opportunity to tell their stories. And so I think this is a nice opportunity to do that. So that's the plan going forward. Tara says you're right about colon cancer. Okay, great. I thought so. Absolutely thought so. My own sister passed from colon cancer. I've shared that before. And so that is one that's really touches my heart and touches my life. And now I've just learned that my sister-in-law is struggling, I think, for the third time with a form of breast cancer. So nobody is untouched. And I think this is a way that we can do something meaningful and do something memorable for others to reach forward to try to help with funding for research, but also as kind of a memorial to the people in our lives that have been touched by cancer. So that's going really well, and I'm so grateful. The Yarny Use, I say it so many times, but it's true. You all really show up for these sorts of causes, and I am ridiculously grateful for that. So speaking of showing up, tomorrow is the next installment of the Fiberside Chats through Longmont Yarn Shop out in Colorado. And I am particularly excited about this one. We have knitters in the Yarny Use, and we have crocheters in the Yarny Use, and we have what I like to call bistitchual folks in the Yarny Use who both knit and crochet. And then, of course, being multi-crafters, so many of us do other crafts as well. Well, Brittany, and I always forget her last name, so I have to look real quick. Brittany Garber, she's going to be doing a session tomorrow on what knitters and crocheters can learn from each other, kind of bridging the gap between knitters and crocheters. And I was so happy when I saw that that was the topic. I think that's awesome because many times it feels like, I think it's getting better, but many times it feels like there's a bit of a chasm between knitters and crocheters. And I've spoken about this before on the podcast and even in more personal venues about how I was a crocheter first. I was a typical story where my grandmother taught me how to crochet when I was little. I did it kind of through my teen years a little bit and then put it down. And then as an adult, decided that I wanted to learn to knit. But I went back to crochet before I started to learn to knit. That's what kind of got me on that path again. And I remember going into some yarn shops, and not all in Florida, other places as well, and walking in and kind of feeling a little bit of a cold shoulder when I revealed that I was crocheting. Now, that is not necessarily the experience across the board. I don't want to be negative about that. Fiber people are generally really good-natured people. But I don't even think it's meant from a malicious standpoint. I think often a lot of yarn shops, cater to knitters. And I think that a lot of knitters, even some yarn shop owners, don't know much about crochet. And so when I said, oh, I'm crocheting this, maybe I got the sense it was a cold shoulder, but maybe it was just they weren't really comfortable with crochet. And so they weren't sure how to help me. But be that as it may, I think this is a fantastic topic that Brittany's going to be sharing tomorrow with Longmont Yarn Shop. This whole month is being dedicated to crochet at Longmont Yarn Shop, and it might be a crochet highlighted month. I haven't looked into that, but I should. I'll take a little sip. But I think it's great. They've got some other things going on for crochet. I believe the next session as well is crochet oriented. So how many times can I say crochet in a sentence or in a 30-second blurb? But anyway, Brittany Garber is going to be the guest tomorrow on the Fiberside Chats. And the good news is it is going to be recorded. Most of them are. Every now and then there's one that's not. The one tomorrow will be recorded. So if it's not convenient for you, I think it's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If it's not a convenient time, it'll be recorded. The link will be emailed to you after the event, and you'll have a week to view it. So surely in a week, you've got time to view it. And I think it's going to be a really unique topic, a really unique session. And I think we'll all come away with some great new information out of it. So when you sign up for that, the link is in your newsletter this morning. When you sign up, please be sure to choose Olive and 2U Studios from the drop-down menu. It does really help us. We get a little bit of a financial benefit from it, and it helps us to keep doing what we do here at Olive and 2U Studios. So I so appreciate it. And the reason I said that about showing up is because they have said from Longmont Yarn Shop, wow, the Yarny Use really show up. Yes, they do. I had to put my proud hat on for a minute. Not about me, but about you for showing up and doing all of that. Yes, Tara. Tara says, yay for crochet. Indeed. Crochet is a great craft. It's just as good as knitting. Gives you a little different look, but it's a lot of fun to do. And so it is a focus right now on crochet at Longmont Yarn Shop. So you want to sign up for that. And it looks like it's going to be a fun session. Brittany looks to be really high energy. And again, that topic, I just think that's the coolest topic ever. So how to bridge the gap, because like I said, we've got knitters and crocheters in the Yarny Use. And I love the spirit of help that is in the Yarny Use, how you guys help each other. I think it's wonderful, and hopefully creates a safe space that if you're interested in crochet, you can kind of get some help. And if you're a crocheter who's interested in knitting, that you're just as at home in the Yarny Use. So I think it's going to be great. Sign up for that. The link is in your newsletter, but I'd really encourage you to sign up today because the event is tomorrow. All right. Speaking about socks, as we were earlier, I wanted to mention a couple other things that we have in the shop that if you want to make this weekend all about the socks, you can. We've got some more of these great sock rulers from Twice Shared Sheep. Just a few of these. We've got them in pink and white. I love it. Isn't that fun? The little slap bracelet. And then this was the product that I was totally enamored with when Dawn from Twice Shared Sheep came out with it. It was Build a Sock blocking kits. You may remember when I showed these off before. We got some more in the shop, and they're great. They come with instructions. It's a modular unit that allows you to build the sock blocker of the size that you need and keep building them, because maybe you do socks for lots of different people in your family or your friends and you need different size blockers. This is perfect for you because it will let you do them all. Comes in a neat little case, and then you've got the instructions on how to use it. So all things sock related this week. I'd love to see your socks in the Yarny Use. Be sure to post your pictures. Tell us the pattern. I know so many of you do vanilla socks, and that's smart because socks, it's such a sort of personal pattern. And I think sock knitters find sort of the recipe, the numbers that work for them, and then will often incorporate motifs into it along the way that works for them. Just like Tracy mentioned, she uses her kind of sock recipe and then was able to incorporate that chart into it for the peeps. So that's a great thing to do. But there are some fun sock patterns out there as well. And one of the things that I did this week is I started hunting some sock patterns because I've mentioned I want to get some on the needles. And I like some of the different patterns. So I did a little hunt on Ravelry this week, and I came up with, 5 or 6 really cool patterns that I thought were neat and unique and different. One of them is actually a tartan pattern that has a little pocket on the side. So if you're going to Scotland or have a love of all things Scotland, that would be a fun one. There was actually a second tartan pattern, but the link to that bundle is actually in your newsletter this morning. It's just a bundle that I put together on Ravelry. So if you're interested in socks, take a look at it. There's some really unique ones in there, and some of them are free, some of them are cost, but it's a way that you can kind of look at some slightly unique patterns. I think, apparently I'm waxing philosophical today. I think on Ravelry, many of us get in the tendency of looking at like the what's hot now, or, you do a search and you might see, 28 pages of returns, and it's human nature to start at page 1 and go through them. I think it's fun sometimes to start in the middle of that series or even at the end and work backwards, because some of those patterns are not the super popular patterns, but there's some real gems and treasures buried in there. Maybe it's not such a well-known designer, but it's not one that hit like the top 20 patterns on Ravelry, but there's still some really great designs in there. So that's kind of what I did. I mined some designs so that we could get some things that were a little different, a little unique, maybe that didn't get all the airtime of all the popular designs that we're used to, but I wanted to kind of unearth a few of those. I think I did a pretty good job. I think there's some in there that may interest you. So I'd really encourage you to take a look at that bundle. I made it where it should be public. So whether you have a Ravelry account or not, I think you can still look at it. And I made it as public as Ravelry would let me make it. So I don't think you even have to sign in to see it. I could be wrong. Technology, what can I say? But hopefully it'll kind of cue your inspiration and get you in a different kind of direction for a little bit of sock knitting with some interesting patterns. Oh, that's great. Okay, Kim, I'm not unique. That's awesome. She starts at the end also. I love that because number one, it gives you a different perspective instead of just starting with the super popular stuff. And the other thing I like about it is it helps to support designers that are maybe at the beginning of their design career, or people that haven't, been able to kind of claw their way to the top, but have just as worthy designs. I'm all about supporting the underdog. I think that's important. And that encourages people to stay in the design sphere and contribute so that when they're able to design something and we purchase it, it encourages them on their journey. And I just think that's part of being a good member of the fiber community. Okay, off my soapbox now. That's my take on it anyway. So take a look at that bundle, see if you see something that sparks your imagination. And I'd love, love, love to see in the Yarny Use a post if you decided to start one of those projects, even if you don't complete it. I want to see it started to see what's going on with that. All right. One last thing, looking ahead, we talked about the Cancer colorway blanket coming up in a few months, hopefully, with any luck. But I also wanted to mention we have a Yarny U. We've got a couple of them who are designers, and we've got one in particular that we are collaborating with right now, and we'll be having a knit along starting, I want to say, I don't have my dates in front of me, towards the end of March, I think, is when we'll be putting kits out. And then I believe the knit along starts in April. I'm very excited about it. It's a great pattern. It's not a difficult pattern. It's a simple pattern. And you know me, I love the patterns that give you a chance to develop a new technique or skill. And this will be one of those patterns. You're going to learn a new skill, but it's easy. It's really easy, really accessible. And I'm planning for our kit. You'll need one little piece of equipment, but I'm planning for the kits to include that piece of equipment so you don't have to go out and source something that you're not used to sourcing. It'll be, it's an inexpensive piece of equipment, but we're going to do the work for you. We're going to do the heavy lifting and find it for you. And then you're going to walk away from that with a brand new skill and technique that you can then apply, believe it or not, to other patterns that you do, even if it's not included in the pattern design itself. Did I pique your interest at all? Did I pique it? Comment and let me know if you're curious at all about what that is. I'm not going to tell you yet, though, because I don't want to do that. I think you're going to love it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll be supporting one of our very own Yarny U's in her pattern design career. So yay for that. That's one of the things that I love about the Yarny U's. All right. Whew. I've talked a lot today. I do have some guests that I'm looking forward to in the future, but we didn't have a guest this week. Oh, good, Rachel. Rachel's interested in that. Yes, it is exciting. Very exciting. Hi, Rachel. Good to see you here this morning. So we've got guests coming up later, and I think you're going to be really interested in them, but having to work out with people's schedules and all of that. So sometimes it'll just be me talking about all the fun stuff. And of course, I try to go live every Thursday in the Yarny U's to give the Yarny U's kind of a sneak peek at what's brand new that week so that you can see in the Yarny U's ahead of everybody else. And I really enjoy doing that. It's a slightly more informal, and we have a chance to kind of talk together. And I'm always so grateful for your support. These are kind of getting into some tough economic times in small businesses. I've seen a lot of dyers close recently. Unfortunately, that always makes me sad. So I'm so grateful for your support to allow us to keep doing what we do here. Sherry and Terry are dyeing right now exclusively for Olive and 2U Studios. Their colorways are gorgeous. Monica is here working on shipping and doing all kinds of fun things. And we have a great time here. And we're so grateful for your support. Your orders every week keep us going, keep us creating, help us to continue to bring you fun and new things and events into the Yarny U's to Olive and 2U Studios. And please know how very, very grateful I am for this community and for you and for your support. I love how everybody lifts everybody else up. Diane says she's interested. Kim says she's interested. Belinda says she wants to know more. Lonnie says her queue is full, but she'll make room. She's been a knitting machine lately. So I can't wait to share it with you. It's not quite time, but I'm super, super excited about it. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Again, I'm Michelle with Olive and 2U Studios. We welcome you whether you're watching live or you're watching after the fact. Just know that we're very grateful. Be sure, if you haven't already done so, to subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up. And if there's anything I can do, customer service is our #1 concern here at Olive and 2U Studios. Please feel free to send us an email. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend and happy stitching, whether you're knitting or crochet. I'll see you in the Yarny U's. Take care. Bye-bye.